Hey everybody, welcome to the video today. I took the day off thinking my kids were off school, but it turns out they're at school, so I have a whole day. So I decided to answer a couple questions. One question I've gotten in the comments a couple times ever since I put the oil catch can on my truck, and that question was, how much does it actually catch? Why do you need it? What's it for? Really, that's it. And then the other question, which honestly none of you have asked, and I'm really surprised, is can I sharpen this $25 hatchet that I bought at Home Depot enough to shave my face with? So I know you're all wondering that. I mean, we all wonder if you can sharpen a hatchet or an axe sharp enough to shave with. So I'm going to do that after this video, and then I'll post that video later. But for now, oil catch can. So the oil catch can actually replaces one of the small PCV tubes that goes from the valve head cover on the passenger side to the intake. And the point of that is when the engine's running, and especially when you're getting on it and creating boost, you're going to have some blow by past the piston ring. So the explosion happens above the piston, between the head and the piston, and then it pushes it down. But some of that gas is going to go past the piston rings and end up in the crankcase down where the oil is, where the crank's spinning around. And then that pressure ends up going through the oil galleries that go up into the heads, and now you've got pressure in the heads. The only way for that to come out without a PCV system is through the oil dipstick, and that's no good. Otherwise, you're just building more and more pressure in the crankcase. So what the PCV in your vehicle does stock is just a tube that goes from your valve head cover to the intake, and it takes that gas. It's not going to be spraying liquid up there, but there's going to be like some smoky, hazy oil fuel mixture with oxygen, and it's going to go back into the intake. And the bummer about the way this thing is routed is it doesn't go to the intake right before it goes into to combustion. It actually goes in, it's got to go through the turbos, through the intercooler, then all the way back up through the intake and then burn. So what happened in my Explorer ST was when I took the hose off the intercooler, there was a bunch of oil down in there. Not the end of the world, but definitely not where you want oil. The other downside is some of that is going to go and get all up on the valves and then gunk up the valves a little bit. So it would probably burn off, but I want to show you how much it's caught in the last 3,000 miles. So I've already disconnected my oil catch can, and I went and got a plastic jar so I can show you how much is in here and what exactly it is. So what's going to be coming in here is like a vaporized oil fuel mixture, and then coming out in here is basically just the oil, because sitting in there, the fuel is going to evaporate out. And this is about 2,500 miles worth of driving with the new tune. And I mean, it's not a lot of oil by any means, but imagine every oil change you have 3 times that much. And the place where that's going to end up is either caking up on the valves or down in your intake tube to your intercooler. And it's just going to be sitting down there. It's just oil. Doesn't smell like fuel at all. Like I said, I think the fuel that comes in there ends up evaporating and going back out. The oil catch can actually just takes the place of that little tube that goes from your valve cover to the intake and puts it through. So you got a hose coming over here. It goes to this filter, and then it goes into the catch can, and it's spinning around in there, and then the filter keeps all of the oil and stuff from going back into the intake. So you're just getting just the air going back in there. You got this solid O-ring on here. It's really well put together. Just going to clean this up a little bit and then reinstall it here. Super easy to do. And I put the washer in my pocket. So the oil catch can that I went with is the UPR. I went with the single valve, and if I was doing it again, I would have gotten the double valve. And I'm actually still considering getting the dual valve, because what you're doing is you're replacing the PCV on the passenger side, but you still have one on the driver's side. So that pressure is going to come up through both. If you're relieving all that pressure on one side, yes, it would work its way back down, but really what's happening is on the passenger side, you're going through this. On the other side, you're going straight back into the intake. So a dual valve, if you're going to be tuning your car, if you're going to be driving it really hard, a lot, I would go with the dual valve. If you're just going to be driving normal, single valve's probably fine. And the single valve caught that much. I don't think you would double it if you did the dual valve, but maybe you would. So anyway, that is what the oil catch can does, and it's super easy to install. I did a video on that. And then come back in a couple hours and we'll see if I could shave with a hatchet or cut my face. Anyway, that's it. Have a good one, guys.
It's over!